Hello everyone, wonder how you're doing today. It's Thursday, Maundy Thursday. Am I getting well through our journey through Holy Week? And of course Maundy Thursday marks the beginning of the Triduum, the 3 days that go from the evening of Maundy Thursday to the morning of Easter Sunday. Those 3 days of Easter. And I wonder how you're finding this journey through Holy Week in these times when we can't be in church doing all the things that we would normally do, things which no doubt are very meaningful for all of us, but which sometimes can end up meaning that actually we're really quite busy in Holy Week. And maybe you're finding that this time of being at home on your own is allowing you to enter into Holy Week in a different way. I wouldn't recommend doing it all the time. I hope this is the only time we ever have to do it like this. But perhaps it's an opportunity to do Holy Week in a different way, to spend time with the scriptures and really immerse ourselves in the story. So, Maundy Thursday. And today, in our pilgrimage, the reading takes the form of a flashback. It picks up the Holy Week story just before Judas leaves the table at the Last Supper. And when we consider what Judas was about to do, and the fact that Jesus knew full well what Judas was about to do, Jesus' actions become all the more striking. So this is a reading from the Gospel of St. John, chapter 13. Now before the festival of the Passover, Jesus knew that his hour had come to depart from this world and go to the Father. Having loved his own who were in the world, he loved them to the end. The devil had already put it into the heart of Judas, son of Simon Iscariot, to betray him. And during supper, Jesus, knowing that the Father had given all things to him, and that he had come from God and was going to God, got up from the table, took off his outer robe, and tied a towel around himself. Then he poured water into a basin and began to wash the disciples' feet and to wipe them with the towel that was tied around him. He came to Simon Peter, who said to him, "Lord, are you going to wash my feet?" Jesus answered, "You do not know now what I am doing, but later you will understand." Peter said to him, "You will never wash my feet." Jesus answered, "Unless I wash you, you have no share with me." Simon Peter said to him, "Lord, not only my feet, but also my hands and my head." Jesus said to him, "One who has bathed does not need to wash except for the feet, but is entirely clean. And you are clean, although not all of you." For he knew who was to betray him, and for this reason he said, "Not all of you are clean." After he had washed their feet, he put on his robe and returned to the table. He said to them, "Do you know what I have done to you? You call me teacher and Lord, and you are right, for that is what I am. So if I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also ought to wash one another's feet. For I have set you an example, that you also should do as I have done for you. Very truly I tell you, servants are not greater than their master, nor are messengers greater than the one who sent them. If you know these things, you are blessed if you do them." Let's focus in on Jesus' actions in this scene, because here we see the hallmarks of profoundly wise leadership. Foot washing is alien in our society, and if your feet are anything like as ticklish as mine, you might be very glad of that, as I am. But in the context of this story, it was common for a host to ensure that the guests' feet were washed when they arrived at the house. I imagine that most hosts got a servant to do this on their behalf. But in this passage, Jesus himself kneels down and washes his disciples' feet. His actions are so powerful, such a telling mark of true and wise leadership. Often in our world today, we see models of leadership that are based on grasping power and keeping hold of it. But this is a very different picture. Jesus serves his people and offers this as an example of how they should behave, how they, in their turn, should lead others. I wonder what it means to inhabit this kind of servant leadership today. At heart, it's about empathising with the needs of those you lead and meeting those needs practically. It calls for leadership that's willing to get involved with those who are led, not just stand above and alongside them. There are no empty words here. Jesus enacts his care for his people, all of them, even Judas. He opens a door for Judas, who could have seen his leader's humility and reappraised his plan. The tragedy is that Judas is too committed to his own path to have a change of heart. And what we see in Jesus are the hallmarks of true leadership: empathy, humility, insight. There may be those of you who are sitting listening to this thinking, well, yes, leadership, but I'm not a leader. I'm not involved in leadership. But it's worth remembering that there are all kinds of leadership roles today. Leadership in the workplace, leadership within the military, leadership within our families, parents trying to get their children to do their schoolwork at home. You are exercising a kind of leadership, and I can imagine that it may well be pretty testing at the moment. The leadership of friendship is another example where we try to set an example for one another to follow. And here in this story, we have Jesus, who shows us and reminds us that the true hallmarks of leadership are empathy, humility, insight, and the willingness to serve. And as we continue our journey through Holy Week, let's ask Jesus to show us how to cultivate those qualities in ourselves. Let's pray. Good Lord, teach us the wisdom of leading through service in all branches of society: government, education, law and social care, commerce and church, medicine and military. Teach us humility in our leadership, and grant us empathy, humility and insight in our care of others. Amen. Well, you've had some very interesting noises off this afternoon. We've got the cats rolling their feed ball around in the hallway and crunching away, and Richard cooking in the kitchen. But that's life in the rectory. Anyway, I hope you're all well and look forward to joining with you again in our pilgrimage tomorrow. Bye for now. God bless you.